let's paint this one. Let's start by mixing colors together. So you saw there was some yellow color already, so mix yellow color and that pink color and also brown color together. I will also write those name of those colors down. So paint this petal with larger strokes with this brush. I'm using Squirrel hair brush, which has a larger belly and tip of the brush is very thin, so it's very convenient to use when you are painting watercolor flowers. So now with this petal I'm using a little bit different technique. I'm just going like up and down and up and down and using the belly of the brush more. And here I am using more of the tip of the brush and I'm tapping that darker shade on that petal, like more down of the petal. As you see, I added some contrast to it. And here you see I'm mixing this green color. I'm using green and brown together, and I already had some green mix there, but I needed more, so I'm mixing more of that color mix. And yeah, you can see how much I'm using, and I also tip my brush very often on paper towel. You can use a regular towel too. It may be more convenient than paper towels, so I would recommend that too. And here you see I'm using the tip of the brush and I'm holding the brush very lightly, so it will look very light, those stems and leaves. And you can paint these leaves very easily. You can just start with the tip of the brush, then push it down a little bit, and you can do it very quickly, so it will be the best. Like tip of the brush, push, and quickly lift the brush, so there is a leaf. And if it doesn't look like what you wanted, you can still paint on it and fix it a little bit, as I did too. And yeah, that's the reason why we painted those stems and leaves, is that you need to wait those petals to dry. So yeah, now they are dry because this paper is very smooth. It is cellulose 100%, so I think it's the reason why it is so smooth. You can see I'm using kind of the same techniques with these petals too, what I used with those first petals. And yeah, it's a little bit darker shade, or at least it looks like it now, because those first ones are dry. And if you want to fix those petals like I'm doing, use a thin or whatever brush you have which is dry, and then lift that color off that painting. And remember to do that before it's already dry. And with this center or the middle of the flower, you just use that yellow color and do those strokes here and there. And I leave some white spots where I'm adding some brown color, so it will look, well, more natural and there's some contrast. And here I'm using a little bit brighter yellow color, so I'm just tapping with that little brush on that flower. And here I'm doing some shading, I would say. It's called like that, but you don't have to do this. I mean, it's time consuming and you don't have to paint this because this style is loose and it is more easier to paint, so I don't think you have to paint these if you don't want to. But here you see how I paint them, some parts of the petals. Remember to use paper towel, because if you have too much water it will just stay on that paper and move around too crazy, and yeah, in crazy way, like you don't have a control with it. I'm using this very tiny brush to make the veins of the petals. Start with like shorter veins, and in the middle, on the middle of the petal, you can paint some taller veins, and again from the side of the petal you can paint shorter petal veins. Nothing quite new with these leaves. I'm just painting with this tiny little brush those veins with the tip of the brush. So if you want some tiny veins, use a very small brush or a brush which has a bigger belly but very thin end, so you will get those very thin veins like we all want, I guess. And here I'm fixing that part of the flower because it has some green on it. So just using clean brush and water and paper towel. But thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye bye!